Good morning. Good to have Caroline Sism. Did I say that right, Caroline? Back in worship with us, and thank you for the beautiful music. We also have a TV star among our midst. I don't know how many of you watch the show Nashville. Tom Schuyler made his debut last Wednesday night, did a great job, and personally I think that he should be in more episodes, so I'm going to keep watching and see what happens. I hope all of you are doing well. Would you join with me for a prayer to begin this morning? Loving God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. Lord, speak to us this morning through the scripture. Challenge us, inspire us. Don't leave us the same. Amen. We're continuing our fall series on the Ten Commandments. So far, we have looked at the first four, which have to do with our relationship with God. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol. Don't misuse the name of the Lord your God. And then last week, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Today, we shift into the final six commandments, which have to do with our relationship with each other. And the fifth commandment is honor your father and your mother. There's a story told about a young couple who lived with their only son, Alex, in a modest house. They were not rich, but they lived comfortably and happily together. One day, the man's father came to live with the couple. He had grown old and could not take care of himself. The grandfather's eyes had grown dim, his ears were nearly deaf, his hands shook like the leaves on a tree in the wind. And when the man would eat, he was unable to hold his spoon without spilling his food all over the tablecloth and all over his clothes. Food would come out of his mouth, making a mess. It was difficult to watch. For months, the young couple discussed the irritating behavior of the old man. And finally, they got so frustrated that they took the grandfather and they gave him his own table in the corner of the kitchen so that he could eat over there by himself. And as he ate, he would look across the kitchen at his family over at the other table, and he would cry. Finally, one day, the old man's trembling hands could no longer hold the glass bowl that he had been given, and it fell to the floor, shattering into hundreds of pieces. And the woman scolded him for making a mess. And immediately she went out to the market and she bought him a wooden bowl so that if he dropped it again, it would not break. As the days passed, the old man sat in the corner of the kitchen, eating his food out of the wooden bowl, looking at his family. Later in the fall, the father came home from work one evening and he noticed his son Alex was sitting in the middle of the floor, carving on a block of wood. He asked him, "Alex, son, what are you making?" And Alex said, "Well, Daddy, it's a present for you and Mommy. I'm carving two wooden bowls so that when you and Mommy come to live with me in your old age, you'll have something to eat out of." Honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving to you. I want to ask you to do something this morning. I want you to reach down on your stomach. I want you to feel your belly button. Find your belly button if you can. Our belly buttons are ontological reminders that every single one of us was once dependent upon our mothers for life. And when we were born, we were completely dependent on our parents to take care of us. Stanley Hauerwas and Will Willimon say our attachments to our parents remind us that life is a gift rather than a possession. Each one of us has been parented. No matter how old we become, no matter how many children we might have ourselves, we never get over being children of God and children of our parents. This past summer, we were doing our series on the Apostle Paul, And we were looking at this text that Tom read from Ephesians chapter 6, where Paul says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right." And then Paul goes on to quote the fifth commandment. And I preached a sermon, I can't remember when it was, August sometime, I think, called Family Dynamics. And if you recall, I made 5 basic points at the beginning of that sermon that I believe in. The first one was, none of us gets to choose our family of origin. It's chosen for us. And that might be a good thing or it might be a bad thing, but the choice is out of our control. We are born into it. We don't choose our parents. Secondly, I said that there is no such thing in life as a normal family. That is an oxymoron. The concept of a normal family, it does not exist. Every single family has problems and issues that they have to work through. Every family has tension. Every family is not perfect, and we all share that in common. Thirdly, I said that every single one of us thinks that we are the smartest person in our family, and if everybody else would just listen to us and do what we want them to do, then life would be much smoother and the world would be much better, because we think that we have it all figured out. Fourth, family is one of the greatest blessings that God has given to us. It's also one of the most challenging aspects of our lives. Some of our greatest joy and fulfillment in life comes from family, and some of our greatest disappointments and stresses in life also come from family. That's just the way it is. And fifth, when we read the scriptures, we find that over and over again we are called to love our family. Honor your father and mother. Wives, love your husbands. Husbands, love your wives. Children, obey your parents. Parents, don't provoke your children to anger. Time and time again, the scriptures talk about the importance of loving family. And we know this, but often we struggle with just doing it. This fifth commandment, honor your father and your mother, was not necessarily intended for young children. It was more so intended for adult children. You see, in ancient Israel, the family unit lived and traveled together in the time of Moses. And so when parents got to old age, their children and their grandchildren would take care of them. And if you wanted your kids to take care of you when you got old, then guess what? You had better take care of your parents first when they got old. And that might mean living under the same roof, and that day it did. In American culture, we don't really do this so much. I mean, sometimes there are families who take in their grandmother or grandfather, their father or their mother, but it might mean finding them assisted living. It might mean helping them get the proper health care. Some of you are there right now. You know what that's like. Others of you will be there one day, or you'll be there soon. But this commandment is so much more challenging for adults than it is for children, because there's something that happens to us as we get older. When we grow up and become adults, and it takes some of us longer than others, right? We begin to see our parents' flaws and their shortcomings. At one point in life, we thought that our parents hung the moon. We thought that they could do no wrong. We thought that they had it all together. And then as we get older, we realize that they have flaws. They have shortcomings. They're not perfect. They don't have it all together like we once thought. And we all experience this to some degree. And it can be disillusioning. It can be disappointing. And some people have a really hard time coming to terms with this reality. This commandment can be difficult not only when we come to this realization, but it can also be difficult for people who may feel as though their parents don't deserve to be honored because of something that they have done or something that has happened in the past. Maybe your dad left when you were young. Maybe you were physically or sexually abused as a child. Maybe there was infidelity involved in your parents' marriage. Maybe there was a drinking problem or an addiction problem in your house growing up. Maybe there was favoritism showed to another sibling. Maybe your parents had such lofty expectations of you that there's no way you could ever live up to them. Maybe your parents got divorced at a time when you needed them the most and they were too busy fighting and dealing with their own problems to be there for you. Maybe you're like me and you had a parent commit suicide and you're not really sure what honoring them looks like after they do something like that. This commandment is not an easy commandment. And some have a very difficult time with it, and perhaps it might be for good reason. In the book, The Truth About God, Hauerwas and Willimon say that parents are to be honored as they honor God. Parents are to be obeyed as they obey God. Those who expect to be honored by their children's keeping of the fourth commandment must themselves keep the 10 commandments. And I think that makes sense. To deserve honor, you must try your best to live an honorable life. However, I will say that some of us are way too hard on our parents. Some of us have unrealistic expectations that our parents will never meet. Some of us may even be looking for reasons to get mad or frustrated with our parents. And maybe we need to cut them some slack. Maybe we need to realize that nobody is perfect. Maybe we need to show our parents some grace and some forgiveness in life. Maybe we need to understand that they have done the best that they could do. There are 3 words that I want to leave you with this morning that I see as very important as we think about the relationship that we have with our parents. The first word is gratitude. Gratitude. They gave us life. They brought us into the world. Without them, we would not be here. Thomas Aquinas once said that we ought to honor our parents, for it was they who first taught us to worship God. From them, we caught the first inkling of what it meant to be loved, sought, sacrificed, and selflessly cared for, and what it means to be dependent on another for life itself. So showing gratitude to our parents for bringing us into this world, for nurturing us, for taking care of us, for raising us, is very important. And I've found that when you become a parent yourself, you gain a whole new appreciation for all the things that your parents have done for you, because guess what? You're now doing them for your children. Parenthood is a wonderful thing. It's also a huge responsibility that should never be taken lightly. And unfortunately, there are people in our culture who take it lightly. There are people who bring children into the world when they shouldn't. Hauerwas and Willimon say that parenthood is a high vocation, one worthy of our honor, for it is participation by some of the faithful in the responsibility and creativity through which God keeps the world as God's world and creation continues. We must show gratitude to our parents for all that they have done and not just take it for granted. There are many parents out there who rightfully wonder if their children actually appreciate and acknowledge everything that they have done for them. And maybe we need to do a better job of thanking our parents, not just at rehearsal dinners and on Mother's Day and Father's Day, but on a regular basis. The second word I'll leave you with is honesty. We must be honest with our parents. Parents should try to raise their children in a way that teaches them how important it is to tell the truth, that teaches them the importance of openly expressing their feelings. If your parents have done something to hurt you or to disappoint you in life, then you should talk to them about it. You should tell them about it. If it's affecting your relationship, if it's keeping you apart or distant from each other, you should talk about it. It's always better to talk things through, to get things out on the table, than to just sit back and assume that somebody is a mind reader. Honesty is essential in any family relationship. Trust is essential in any family relationship. And being open and honest with them about how we feel, and then listening and letting them tell us how they feel, is important. Being honest with our parents is one way that we honor them. Honesty matters. The last word this morning is forgiveness. We have to learn to forgive people in life, and that starts with our own families. Parents are not perfect. They make mistakes. They say and do things that they regret. And it's not healthy to go through life and to hold our parents to an impossible standard. To go through life and to not forgive our parents. If we want our children to forgive us, then we too are called to forgive our parents. There's something about this fifth commandment that reminds me of the phrase, what goes around comes around. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. One day we may be treated by our children the way that we treat our parents. There are situations in life, hopefully they are few and far between, where people have had to cut off ties with their parents. Something terrible has happened. Somebody has been hurt or betrayed. Somebody has been lied to or misled. Somebody has been abandoned. And yes, there may be times in life when ties have to be severed. However, forgiveness still applies. Because if we don't forgive in life, whether it's our parents or anybody else, then we're the ones who lose. We're the ones who carry around the unnecessary burden. Jesus knew that it's impossible to go through life and not forgive. Impossible. Because when we don't forgive, we carry things forward with us that we should have let go a long time ago. And when we don't forgive, we fail to follow Jesus' teachings. Gratitude, honesty, and forgiveness. 3 principles that I think should guide our relationships in life with our parents and with our children. Hauerwas and Williman say parents are there to keep teaching us that we are here as a gift. As parents age, a wonderful reversal of roles takes place, and adult children are given the opportunity to order their lives and resources on behalf of their aging parents. We who have received care from our parents now get to care for them. Honor your father and mother so that you may live long in the land that God is giving you.